What's up? What's up? And welcome back to another episode of To Whom It May Concern, the podcast. Definitely appreciate you all for stopping by. What a great day. I'm just always going to open up with that, day or night. It was a great day in particular. I am your host, Philip Brandon. Thank you for tuning in. Um, you know, it's it has been real. The past few podcasts I've talked about the expectation of welcoming our fourth child. He's home now. Quattro is in the building. But also, yeah, just to expound on, the level of energy it takes, not just for a newborn, but for our other remaining 5011 kids. Yeah, I said 5011. It feels like it's a whole village running around here. And it's something that I never would have imagined, but it's a beautiful thing. And so just being able to, show love, spend time with everyone, cater to everyone's needs has been a thrill. I'm enthused as a parent, but also I'm like, okay, just like you map out strategies for, your game plan. If you're a coach, how you're going to beat the opponent. My wife and I are having to map out strategies. How are we going to make sure that these kids don't run us ragged today, right? So, parents, talk to me. Let me know if that's something that you all have to plan for too, because this is what I wanted to talk about on this show in particular. Like, this is the inner workings, and a lot of people may not get a full, day to day on what schedules look like, on how you got to coordinate bath time, diaper changes, and trust me, this is it's not rocket science, but it's a lot of work, and it's definitely a lot of work, and it's definitely somewhat new, considering we went from having just a single child, one child who's 16 now, to four in less than 2 years. So we really doubled down, and it's been interesting to say the least. So yeah, right now we are just in terms of the outdoor, like my our two twins, they require, they're like they're like puppies. You got to bring them outside. You got to let them burn off energy, and there's a certain time every single day that they're going to remind you, hey, it's time for me to be out there. And in our neighborhood in particular, we got a group of kids. We call them the backyardigans. The backyardigans come knocking at the door at the same time every day. Can the twins come out and play? And it is the funniest thing. It's just beautiful just to know that they got a social life. They out there running around, being chased, and not without a care in the world. And that is their that is one of their ways of burning their physical activities. But when they're not outside, we have to coordinate, making sure, you have enough reading time, making sure that we're going over alphabets and numbers, and they'll be starting school soon too. So there's that factor. But yeah, you got to be a coach. You got to have a game plan. A press defense, zone defense is real, man. It is, and it's funny to see it all in action. So I'm bringing you all the funny commentary, but in the moment, there are days where you're just like pulling your hair out. Again, bags under your eyes. You just waking up in the morning like, man, how did this happen? How did we get here, right? But God did. So I'll never want to disrespect the blessings that He's poured down. Especially things that we've asked for in particular. So without further ado, parents, talk to me. What are your strategies? What do you do? How are you playing defense? How are you playing man-to-man defense or zone defense with your kids? Because I'm telling you, I refuse to let my kids win and take over my household, even though some days it definitely feels like that. But what I need strategies. I want to know what y'all are doing. There's a certain bedtime we like to have them in down by. Um, this summer it's been a little bit harder to do that, just because the sun is out longer. They want to hang out and play. But rest assured, By the end of this month, August, oh, they're gonna have a much more sturdier bedtime for sure. Um, but yeah, it's a beautiful thing. I'm gonna call it the beautiful struggle. If nothing else, parenthood is a beautiful struggle. Watching these two kids or however many kids you have, um, it just takes a lot of focus, a lot of commitment, and a lot of communication on your partner's end, right? Um, School, selecting the right schools. What are their specific needs? So uh, you find yourself pouring this is the stage that I'm in. It's really life about my kids, and making sure that they have the best things, best resources. Um, and I don't have any shame in that. That's just where I find myself at this in the 40 plus club, right? Eventually, it'll be a little different, but as of right now, it is what it is. So, but yeah, parents, please, tap in, comment. What are your thoughts? What are your strategies? I'm wanting to know. It helped me help my help me help you, and along the way for sure. You might be helping another parent who's tuning in and eager to learn a little bit more as well. So once again, shout out to my wife. She's the real conductor here, CFO. The quarterback, if you will. So she's definitely holding the fort down. So give her a lot of props. But um, so since back to school is basically in full swing, parents, how you feeling? Y'all stressed out yet? Getting the book bags, getting the shoes, the Lululemon, all of that good stuff. Are you in need? Do you kind of hate this time of year, or is it like, nah, I'll do whatever it takes to get these kids up out of my house? Um, I'm just curious. My fan base is probably going to be, or audience rather, is gonna be comprised mostly of parents because that's who I know. That's what I am. But so even if you're not, you may be a uncle. You might have a niece, and you enjoy this time of year because it allows you to spend some time or go to the mall, pick out the favorite little, back to school outfit. Uh, I don't want to say this time of year gives me anxiety, but I guess in a way it does. You know, how are they? What's the year going to look like for them? Um, you anticipate that back to school bill. School's always sending you out the supply list that's like yay long, and you're like, damn, they need all this stuff. But that's just how it is. It's been like that since, say the beginning of time, but for a very long time. And it is definitely just a part of the program. So, but yeah, parents checking in with you. How are you feeling about back to school? Do you feel like you got what you needed for your kids? Do you don't worry about do they need to have the latest Jordans? Do they need to have the best book bag in town? Or are you just like, hey, I'm making sure that these jokers are going to school clean. They got what they need. I didn't, overstress myself. I always, when you go to the stores and you see carts full to the brim, you got some students going back to school, college-wise as well. So, there's that. But, particularly for those kids, grade school through high school, basically. Um, how are you feeling about back to school? Let me know. Drop a comment. I'd love to hear about that. Um, in my spare time, I do want to let you know, I did have a little bit of downtime, surprisingly, and I was able to hone in on, I don't get a chance to watch a lot of movies like I used to, unfortunately, and that's sucks because I love movies. Went to school for radio, TV, and film, so uh, being able to, I guess, watch a film, discuss it, look at the cinematography of it. Those are, I geek out about stuff like that. My sister even pointed that out. She's like, oh, you're a film buff for real, for real. I'm like, yeah, on the low. I'm a bit of a film buff. So I watched the film recently. I don't know if, this director, this producer is very well known. Um, so I'm just going ahead and put it out there. Like, so my format and this podcast is not to be derogatory. It's not to, we don't throw mud or, we're not doing all of that. I'm not I don't get on my soapbox. But, I am one who is for the the culture, right? The empowerment, if we're going to do something from an African American perspective, let's do it well. Let's strive for excellence in that category. Um, so I promise you, I don't want no smoke. Please don't come for me, Mr. Perry. But I did watch a Tyler Perry film, his most recent one. And I was curious. The reason why was because they said it got a 0 on Rotten Tomatoes. I said, "Wow, you made a film. You have such a long history of filmmaking, only for your latest film to get a 0." Now I get it, right? Sometimes the creative work that we put together doesn't appeal to other people, um, and that's a real thing. As a creative myself, I definitely struggle with there's that imposter syndrome. Are people going to like the content or whatever it is you created? I get that. But from doing it for so long, right, and having maybe a formula for yourself, you should know the ins and outs of, hey, what's going to create a very successful film. So others may have commented on this. So I'm definitely late to the podium, but I believe the film was Divorce in the Black. I don't even know where to start. I'm probably gonna need a part 1 and part 2, maybe part 3. I wasn't a huge fan of this film. Again, I'm not coming for your neck, Mr. Perry. Please don't. I don't want that smoke. I know you're a very powerful man, and you do a lot for the community, but that film wasn't your best. Um, it was lacking in many areas. And I'll just start with the first thing that I noticed. I think Megan Good, um, she is who she is. She may not be, go down the road of A list actresses that we've known, but I respect her craft 100%. It takes a lot to act, remember your lines and be in character. So I respect the craft. And I think she did fairly well for the lead role. Now, the gentleman who played opposite her, uh, Mr. Hardick, I think it is. Again, I, I'm not getting into the mudslinging. I respect these artists. So if I come across them later in life, I want them to be like, "Hey, man, I heard you was ragging on me." No, I just saw some inconsistencies, I guess you could say, with the film, with the plot, and I maybe would expect that from a new filmmaker like myself. If I start doing film, I'd expect to get a 0 in Rotten Tomatoes because like you got a lot to learn, buddy. But we're talking an illustrious career, and I just see some of the same tropes that we've gone down before. I think that was mentioned in Rotten Tomatoes, and um, the writing, just something was left to be desired. So I'm just, if we're talking accountability, I just want, Mr. Perry, your production, let's let's challenge ourselves to be better.